is Anya. Anya, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, thanks for joining today. I'm Anya Nakayama. I'm the director of WWCode Tokyo.
Great. I'll give a quick presentation on what Women Who Code is all about. I'm sorry my Japanese is not very good, but I'll say a little hello in Japanese. So cool. Dear women, we need you, the tech industry. There's a huge opportunity in tech. Today, women hold 51% of professional occupations, but only about a quarter of computing jobs. The opportunity is even greater among entrepreneurs and investors. Women often leave STEM jobs mid-career, right at the moment when they are experienced and could be primed to advance into top leadership. This is a faster rate than men and a faster rate than women leaving other industries. Why is this happening? Women often report that they leave due to lack of representation, especially in tech leadership. They can't see a path to advancing in the industry. So here's a little bit about the vision for Women Who Code, a world where women are proportionally represented as technical leaders, executives, founders, VCs, board members, and software engineers. We want to inspire women to excel in technology careers. And we empower women with skills needed for professional achievement, and we develop role models and support this generation of engineers. Through our events, we build skills to raise the profiles and propel tech careers, including tech skills, writing, speaking, like tonight, career navigation, and leadership. We help women engage in the broader tech community, and here's some examples of funding that Women Who Code has provided through scholarships and conference tickets. We are building a global community where networking and mentorship is valued. And we're in 75 cities and 20 countries. We also educate companies to better promote, retain, and hire talented women. So join us, step up your career, take advantage of our global network, find a friend, find a mentor, find opportunities. Great. So that's my presentation. Let me stop sharing my screen and then I'll introduce our speakers tonight. So I'll do the, I guess our first speaker is Kamiya, and she'll be presenting, let's see, are you presenting in Japanese or English? I don't know. Hopefully everyone will stick around no matter what language you speak, because it's a bilingual event and we encourage everyone to take it as a good opportunity to practice your bilingual skills. So with that, please teach us a little bit, about system architecture of your streaming service. Yeah.
Yes, let's see the screen. Yeah. ちょっとHi everyone. 音楽配信サービスAWAのシステムアーキテクチャと、題して、発表 LT をしようと思っております。で、ちょっと日本語で話そうか、英語で話そうかすごい迷っていて、一応両方スライド準備してるんですけど、ちょっと今日のアテンディを見て、英語あんまり流暢じゃないんですけど、イングリッシュでちょっとトライしてみようかなと思っております。なので、スライドが、日本語と英語とちょっと入り混ざった感じになってますけど、よろしくお願いします。始めて大丈夫ですか？あれ、Can you hear me? 聞こえてるか？
大丈夫です。
大丈夫。Hi. Okay. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Kamiya, and I belong to CyberAgent in Shibuya. And I currently work at AWA. It is a joint venture of CyberAgent and AWA. And I am a software engineer, and I've been used Golang and Typescript for these years. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about what is AWA. Yeah, AWA is a subscription-based music streaming service. Like Apple Music and Spotify. Then, so yeah, our company is a joint venture of CyberAgent and AWA Digital. Then we have unlimited access to 65 million songs from around the world. And we have 4 plans like this, 980円、480円、270円とフリープランがあります。And the biggest feature is that over 13 million playlists by artists, DJs, and users. So let me explain our parent company. AWA provides music business mainly. For example, planning and production of music content, artist management, and music digital platforms, etc. On the other hand, CyberAgent provides internet media business. For example, TV and entertainment video service. We call it ABEMA, is the application for internet TV. And we have also Ameba blog, is the blog service. And we have also internet advertising, business, and smartphone games, etc. So this is our mission. Delivery system for music data is provided by AWA Digital, and we have data integration and system that delivers the music experience to the user is provided by CyberAgent that I belong to. So now I'm gonna talk about system architecture. Yeah, this is the core architecture of AWA. Actually, it is more complicated, but this figure is a simple version for this presentation. The left part is AWA network, and the right part is CyberAgent 1. That means we cannot access the AWA database directly because we are originally a different company. So yeah, I'm gonna explain the data process more details. And first, artists or music labels put their music assets, including jacket image and audio itself and metadata, with their own format. Then once the assets are uploaded to the storage like S3, AWS S3, AWA system executes many processes in their network. Yeah, I'm gonna mention about 3 representative processes. First, the optimization of audio file and image file, like volume controls and taking file size, then resize if needed. And the second, segmentation of audio file with many formats, bitrate, and lengths, because in AWA we have 3 formats for each devices. HLS format is for Android devices, and M4A is for iOS devices, and also we have MP4 is for the desktop application, like Mac application and Windows we have, respectively. And so And also we have virtualization of tracks process. That is, we have many delivered tracks, but there are similar stuff with different version of albums. So we generate one virtual track from many similar physical tracks, like that. And finally, the jacket image here, jacket image and audio file are uploaded to the storage that CyberAgent can access. And the metadata are sent to our database through the integration system here. This center is the integration system. So, okay, so next. I focus on the integration system more details for metadata. Yeah, we call the integration system, I mentioned the previous slide here. We call it the system MetaSync. The data flow is like this figure. First, the AWX application, this one, posts the data with HTTP REST format. Then the MetaSync API, this server publishes the data to the Google Cloud PubSub. This is the messaging service of GCP, Google Cloud Platform. Then we have also the subscriber application. Then this application subscribes the message from the Cloud PubSub and executes some processes and finally saves the metadata from AWX to our database. We have MongoDB, we use it. So now we can ready to access any tracks, albums, and artist information after optimization to show our users. Okay, thank you for listening.
Thank you, Yusan. Do we have any questions? Please, you can raise your hand or type in chat if you have any questions for the speaker.
Yeah, Japanese, 日本語でも OK です。英語だったらチャットに書いてくるから方がベターです。
All right, no questions, but it was really cool to see that overview of architecture and all the little pieces that go into a working piece of software. So thanks again, you. Our next speaker is Minira from Bespoke.
Hi. Okay, let me share my screen first. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes, it's okay.
Cool. Okay, so hi, my name is Minira, and today I want to share my experience of my first coding job. I come from a non-technical background, and I'm new to this, but I learned a lot during my first 3 months. I know that there are a lot of other people like me who making a transition to IT industry for the first time in their life, and I really hope that this presentation will help them to make this transition smoother and answer some questions that junior devs may have. I'm originally from Azerbaijan. It's a small country between Europe and Asia. And I have a bachelor's degree in economics, and I even worked as accountant in my home country. Then I moved to Japan to learn Japanese language. And after graduation from Japanese language school, I didn't really know what I want to do. I worked at many different companies as part-time, and then finally I landed my first full-time marketing position at a real estate company. This was the time that I first started coding, and I enjoyed it really much. And I thought I should take it to a professional level. I want to make this my future career. I found a coding bootcamp here in Tokyo, and I studied really hard, and I made a lot of effort. So 1 month after graduation, I landed my first software engineering position at Bespoke. So first thing I want to talk about is to prep ahead. It's all about first impression. Take time to study what tech stack your company is using and read some documentation. You might have hard time understanding those, but at least it will give you a good insight of what are the tools and what are they used for. And to make my life easier on my first day, I came up with a list of software that I use personally, and I showed that list to my mentor to know whether it's okay to download those. And don't forget to prepare your config, your shell configs and other .files, and just put them on your GitHub. So your first day at work. And yeah, you received an offer, you're really excited, but probably you will be spending most of the day setting up your PC and your dev environment. But there are important things that you need to do. You have to meet your team, well, obviously. So invite them to one-on-one coffee chats. Be proactive. Don't wait for other people to reach out to you. And same goes to the tech meetings. Be sure that you know about all the important meetings and you're invited to them. If your company is big and has many products, maybe reach out to that product teams and ask about their products and how do they fit into the overall structure. So, onboarding process. Your onboarding starts from day one. And make sure that you know what is expected from you during those first 3 months. What are the milestones? What are the most important KPIs for your team? Don't wait for one-on-ones to ask your mentor question. Ask it straight away. Believe me, you don't want to make an impression of a person who waits till the last minute to ask a question. It will make your communication much smoother. I never had one-on-ones with a manager, and I really didn't know what to expect, but remember, first impression is the most important, so I asked senior devs. Basically, it's a good time to share your overall experience with your manager, raise concerns if you have any, and the things that I asked during my first one-on-ones were, how does success looks like for my role? How is the work planned? How is performance evaluated? What is the overall organization structure? You're part of the team now. And each team is different. Everyone has their own work style, their own communication style. For example, even small things like, should I tag this person on Slack when I'm asking a question? Or maybe someone has a time of the day they really don't want to be disturbed. Learn this stuff and show your team that you actually care. Expose yourself and learn to work with other team members by maybe with pair programming one-on-ones. This will help you to learn other team members' strong points, and they will learn yours. And from now on, your time is your team's resource. So don't let your personal preference to get in the way. There will be always things that you really want to work on, but maybe your team has some tasks which are more important. It's higher priority, so be sure to check up with them. And the first contributions are the most memorable ones, and at least that was for me. It might seem like changing one line of the code, it's not much, but that's not true. It may be not much in terms of change, but it really tells a lot about how you tackle the problem, how you communicate, how do you solve it. So don't forget about first impression. When you ask a question, actually when I have a question, I type that question in different window. And sometimes by the time I'm done typing, I already know the solution. So sometimes you just need a rubber duck. Don't underestimate the power of rubber ducking. And when you ask a question, let your team know that you've done some research. And when it comes to contribution, well, there are so many other ways to contribute outside of coding. For example, you can update READMEs, onboarding documentation, because you have that fresh eye on things that other people who worked in this company for several years don't. Other thing that I can suggest personally, setting up remote nomikais. It's really fun. So in Code Chrysalis, we spend a lot of time learning how to give and receive feedback. You will have a chance to give a feedback to your manager during one-on-ones. And when you give feedback to your team members, be nice. These are the people you will be working with for a long time. Always ask feedback for yourself. Let the team know that you care. And when you get a feedback, maybe come up with an action plan. Don't just listen and forget about it. Oops, sorry. So, and finally, don't be an imposter. But don't be afraid of not knowing something. The reality is it takes a lot of time and patience to become good at something. And no one can run a 100-mile marathon from day one. You need to start small, and everybody understands that, especially seniors. So start small, don't take tasks that are too big. And celebrate wins, even if you think that they're small, it's not true. And even write them down. Me, for example, I have a document where I list all the achievements, all the things that I've done outside of my work. This will also help you with the performance reviews you will have in the future. And the last but not least, don't compare yourself to other people. I found myself doing that while I was in Code Chrysalis, but that won't do you any good. What I suggest is when you have doubts, go to your GitHub account and check the oldest commit that you had. And this will show you how long of a journey it was and how much you grew from that point. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening.
Great, thank you, Minira. I think great tips for anyone starting a new job. Do we have any questions? Please feel free to raise your hand or write in chat. We have a lot of applause. Okay, seems kind of quiet. Again, love the slides, great talk. And last but not least, we have Mary Sedarous from Comvex. Oh, here's a question from Anne. Was it difficult landing your first job?
That's a great question. And basically, if you plan everything, if you know all the steps you need to take, no, I actually had 5 offers in 1 month. Only because...
Impressive.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, only because, you know, I took it seriously and I was networking like a crazy person. I'm actually introvert, so it's really hard for me. But this time I thought, you know, this time or never, I have to get out and like reach the people. So don't be shy about reaching to unknown people. The worst that it will be, they maybe don't answer you, but that's all. And yeah, it's not that hard, believe me. I'm just a bootcamp graduate, but I did that. And if you need any help with in tech interviews or anything, you can reach out to me like after this, anytime. I'm glad to help.
Question from Sue. May I know your JLPT level? I am a computer science student.
Of course. Actually, I didn't take JLPT, not once in my life, but previous to Bespoke, I worked in Japanese companies and my level of Japanese was around level of business. I was in tech support, writing emails, like 100 emails in a day. But now my Japanese is like worse. But so one tip, don't think that most of the position they ask you for Japanese. All of the offers that I got, I didn't use Japanese at all. So there are definitely companies that don't want Japanese, but if you know, then that's great. So from Naomi.
From Lena, we have, how can colleagues and managers better support new developers?
Okay, that's a great question, but not sure that I can answer the best. But maybe, for example, for me, I'm proactive. I will ask questions. I will ask people in code help, like we have channel. I will bombard them with questions. But some people, they're really shy. So check up on them. Ask them, do you have any questions? Ask them, do you want like pair programming? Because actually the first pair programming, my mentor told me, why won't we do that? Because I just forgot about it. I was so shy, like, yeah, so definitely reach out and check up on them because they can be shy and yeah.
Naomi asks, how did you do your networking? On LinkedIn or with people you knew?
I did a lot of networking on LinkedIn, but I can't say that helped a lot. I actually went to a lot of events that Code Chrysalis organizes, and I met a lot of people there. Also, I can say that, yeah, just go to the events and meet with people. If they don't have anything, they might know people who have something. Yeah.
Sue asks, what other basic skills must one solidify for this type of entry-level role, such as Git, Linux, AWS, etc.?
I think the skill that you need, it's not something certain because I don't know AWS and I'm not a Linux user. I just gonna learn it. It's you need to learn how to learn, and you need to learn how to ask questions and be systematic when you're learning something. Yeah. So just that's the most important thing that I learned at Code Chrysalis. Not some specific knowledge, but how to learn something. So that's for me.
Great. I think that's all the questions for now. But oh, here, how about data structure and algorithm?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was really afraid of those questions, and actually, that's only one company asked me to solve algorithms, and again, I don't think that I did perfect, but what is most important to show them that you're not giving up And even if you don't know the solution itself, you at least trying to solve it and maybe show your thought process. So that's what helped me.
Great. With that, let's move on to our next speaker. Thank you again, Minira. Mary from Comvex will be presenting next.
Hey guys, thank you. I'm lagging a little bit, so apologies for no video yet. All right, can everyone see this?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, thanks for coming out tonight, everyone. And I'm really honored to be here with a bunch of other great speakers. So today I want to give a really basic introduction to TypeScript. So if you've used React, but you've never touched TypeScript, this is for you. So a self-introduction, I studied history at the University of Tokyo, and I specifically studied Cold War spies in Japan, and I graduated in 2018. After that, I led digital marketing at a tech startup, Code Chrysalis, for a while before I realized like digital marketing is fantastic, but maybe it's not my thing. So I graduated actually from the same program as Minnie back in March, and I'm now a front-end software engineer at a company called Comvex. So enough about me, let's talk about TypeScript. So according to Wikipedia, TypeScript is an open source programming language that adds static typing to JavaScript, which leads to another question of, well, what exactly is static typing? Static typing means that when code compiles, it's going to have its type checked. And a really popular way of doing this before TypeScript came around was something called the prop types library for React. I'm actually going to be introducing you to prop types later on in this talk, just so you can see kind of what type checking looks like in React in general. So what exactly are the benefits of type checking? Why should we care? Well, first of all, TypeScript and prop types allow for more thoughtful code because you have to think about what type of data you're going to be giving code and what type of data that code is expected to give out. It creates for more reusable code because through this process, you're thinking a lot more about architecture and design. And it's also just a lot easier to read for other engineers, to be honest. And it leads to more bug-free code. If you know exactly what types code are supposed to be dealing with, then it's a lot harder to make silly mistakes like passing in the wrong prop or giving an incorrect value to a prop or not catching it when your API returns something kind of strange. So basically, in my mind, if I explain this in GIFs, coding without TypeScript is kind of like this. It's a black box at times, and it's a little bit harder to see what's going on. Whereas coding with TypeScript is more like this situation, where everything is, to my mind, much more transparent, and you can understand what's expected at each step. So there's two ways that you're usually going to see TypeScript used. The first place is variable declarations, and you'll see this a lot in the TypeScript documentation, where you have the variable name, just like you would do in any other situation. You have this colon that comes after it, and you have the type that you expect this variable to be. And if this is a variable declaration, you're doing like const my dog type string equals frisky or something, the value has to match the type that you've assigned to that variable. The other way is kind of these objects that are either going to be called like type props or type interface. And inside of that, you define different variables in the type that you expect from this. This is really useful for, as you can guess, props. You don't have to name it props. You can name it literally whatever you want. This is just for this example. So I know that that's kind of a lot, We're going to dig a little bit deeper now with some examples so you can actually see what's going on in these situations. So let's have this number function. And in normal React, you wouldn't really, or in normal JavaScript, really, you wouldn't see it written this way necessarily. But here, you'll see that we have the parameter that we expect. We have the colon, and we're assigning it some sort of variable, a type that we expect the variable to be. And we're returning that input +2. In the case that we call num function with the number 4, we're going to get 6, and TypeScript is not going to throw any errors. However, in the case that we call it with the string 4, we're going to get 42 back because thank you, JavaScript. And TypeScript is going to be very unhappy. It's going to throw compiler error, and it's going to refuse to move forward because it's not expecting a string. However, if we look at this, we can actually kind of get around that issue. And this is also my example of like the second way that you'll see TypeScript used from before. So let's say that we want to declare an object of type props, and we define input in there. And you'll notice there's that line between number and string. And this is actually called a union type. It means that it can be either a number or a string. You'll see this a lot. I had no idea what a union type was when I first started out, so I hope that this helps. And now in this case, if we destructure input out of props and we give that to our function, then we're going to have happy TypeScript regardless of whether we give it number 4 or string 4. So this section is going to go by fast, but basically, what types do we even have? Well, we have the familiar ones that you know from your basic JavaScript. We have Booleans, we have numbers, strings, arrays, objects. We also have some kind of less familiar types. I'm not going to go into these. You have tuples. Look at the documentation. It's helpful. You have enum. You might run into this if you've ever done work with C#. You have void, which basically means something's returning undefined. You have null or undefined, which explain themselves. And then you have never, which is a very strange one that just means it's never going to return a value. So let's say you have an infinite loop for reasons only God understands. That's a never situation. So what about when none of these apply? Well, in that case, you're going to be using any. And the name describes itself. You'll be using this a lot. Please try to replace it with like an actual value or an actual type once you've figured out what's going on. And so now, I know I've gone a little bit over time, but for our last section, let's do an actual exercise where we take a button component that's using prop types and we chain it into TypeScript. So we have these themes, which is just an array that I've given 2 strings to. We have our button component that takes these 2 props, theme and disabled, and we have button.prop types, which is how we describe the types of something using prop types. And we also have default prop types, which are the default values that we expect these props to have, assuming we pass nothing in. So in this case, our theme is going to be primary and disabled is going to be false. We want this button to be basically clickable. Now, if we want to go to TypeScript, I promise you're going to find all of the same things here. We have the type props object that contains our theme disabled. We have the theme itself, which I've now changed to use union type instead of being an array. And the question mark next to theme means it's not actually necessary. So TypeScript will not say, oh, you did not give a theme prop. I will not compile and run. It just sees this question mark. It's like, okay, so it could be primary or secondary, but also I don't necessarily need it, right? And then we have our button component again. And inside of here, we're actually giving the default values. We're giving our theme as primary, and again, disabled, we're setting to false. This will be overwritten if you actually give like these props to this component, but if you give this component nothing, then you're fine. And that's a lot of TypeScript to go through very quickly, but thank you for listening.
Great,
And
that's awesome.
about it.
Yeah, I didn't know about union types, but that makes TypeScript look really cool and powerful, and you still get some of the kind of crazy flexibility of JavaScript, but a little more order. Thanks for sharing. Do we have any questions?
Oh, I think I see one question from Lena.
Oh, Lena, yeah. Do you feel that it's easier to understand a new code base when it's typed?
My answer to that is 100% yes. I have a code base that I'm working with right now that's in the process of being migrated from just normal like React to TypeScript. And the difference between being able to immediately understand what exactly every prop is supposed to be, what exactly every function is supposed to return. It makes it so much easier to understand, oh, this is what this component is supposed to do, and this is why we created it. So I really do think it makes a positive difference.
Great. Any other questions? Lena says, Type.js is addictive, and I can't imagine how people used to build apps without it. Lol. Well, I'll have to check it out. Great. I'll give another moment for people to ask questions. Other than that, maybe we could all type some claps for our wonderful speakers tonight. Yeah, domo arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you very much. I learned a ton, and I'm sure everyone else did too. And yeah, this was really great. Thanks for helping us with our first remote, remote lighting talk. If these go well, feel free to reach out to send a private message to me or Anya if you have any feedback for this event on the Women Who Code Slack. If you're not in the Women Who Code Slack, you can DM me your email in this Zoom meeting and I'll invite you so that you can participate. And yeah, I hope to do more of this type of event. And yeah, thanks again to our wonderful speakers. All right, otsukare-sama deshita.